Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. वो है क्या पीछे क्वेश्चन? So like every day we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are reading from Canto 10. The Summum Bonum. Chapter 85. Lord Krishna instructs Vasudeva. Shloka number 47. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asanmariche Shatputra Urnayam Prathamyantare Devahkam Jahasurvikshya Sutam Yabhitumudyatam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asanmariche Satputra Urnayam Prathamyantare Devakam Jahasurvikshya Sutam Yabhitumudyatam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asanmariche Shatputra Urnayam Prathamyantare Devakam Jahasurvikshya Sutam Yabhitumudyatam. Any devotees would like to recite? Manuvacha Mariche Shatputra Matajis. Urnayam Prathamyantare Devakam Jahasurvikshya. Word meanings. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Lord said, Asan, there were, Mariche, of Marichi, Shat, 6, Putrah, sons, Urnayam, born of Urna, his wife, Prathame, in the first, Antare, rule of Manu, Devah, demigods, come at Lord Brahma, Jahasu, they laughed, Vikshya, seeing, Sutam, with his daughter Saraswati, Yabhitum, to copulate, Udyatam, prepared. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. The Supreme Lord said, during the age of the first Manu, the sage Marichi had 6 sons by his wife Urna. So now is the seventh Manu going on. Right? This is the first Manu. They were all exalted demigods. But once they laughed at Lord Brahma when they saw him preparing to have sex with his own daughter. So we will read the next verse also, because this does not have a purport. So next verse has a purport, so we will go to that also. Text 48 and 49. I will read because we have already recited one verse. Tena surim yonim adhuna vadya karmana hiranyakashiporjata nitaste yoga mayaya devakya udare jata rajan kamsa vihimsita satan sochityatmajan swams ta ime adhyasate antike. Translation and word translation and purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki translation. Because of that improper act, they immediately entered a demoniac form of life. Who entered? Six sons. Which improper act? Which improper act they did? Laughed at Brahmaji. Because of that improper act, they immediately entered a demoniac form of life. And thus they took birth as sons of Hiranyakashipu. The goddess Yogamaya then took them away from Hiranyakashipu. And they were born again from Devaki's womb. After this, O king, Kamsa murdered them. Devaki still laments for them, thinking of them as her sons. These same sons of Marichi are now living here with you. Purport. Acharyas Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explain that after taking Marichi's 6 sons from Hiranyakashipu, Lord Krishna's Yogamaya first made them pass through one more life as children of another great demon, Kalanemi. And then she finally transferred them to the womb of Devaki. So, Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroha Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Roti vachalam pangum langhete girinjat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Nandamadhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So first of all, I seek blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas so that I can do this service to Srimad Bhagavatam for the pleasure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, and for my own purification. So, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the face of the Lord, the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Padma Puran mentions Pado Yadiyo Prathamo Dvidiyo. And the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam is the form of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. This Bhagavatam is Swayam Sri Krishna. The 10th canto is the face of the Lord. So to speak on 10th canto, I have no authority or no qualification. It's only the mercy of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and His servants, that for my purification I am sitting here to do this service, to complete today's service, on the order of His Grace Hemagiri Prabhuji. And it is our great fortune to be able to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam every day morning in the association of devotees. We cannot imagine the good fortune which we have to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam every day. You can see, to get this opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, how much Vidurji had to go through, being cursed by Manduk Mani, and then getting a birth, and Dasiputra, living whole life like that, and then finally being very, very badly disrespected by Duryodhana in front of everyone. The whole assembly, in front of that, being so much disrespected by Duryodhana. Apne samne ka bacha. Duryodhana was a small boy when Vidurji was his like uncle, his father. And then to leave home. And then finally to get the shelter of Maitreya Muni and to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam was the culmination of hundreds of years of troubles and curses. Finally to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Maitreya Muni. And here we have to do nothing. Just have to come from ashram and sit here. And we hear Bhagavatam every day. So wonderful, replete with Srila Prabhupada's purports, making our life very successful. And this study of Shastras gives us the right vision of life with the help of Srila Prabhupada's purports. So in this section, in this chapter today, we are seeing that how earlier we saw Vasudevji, when he visited Kurukshetra, he heard from sages that your son Krishna is God. And when Vasudevji meets Krishna here, so then Vasudevji offers obeisances and glorifies so much of whole Sankhya yoga analysis. He gives elaborate, wonderful actually. When I was reading, I was thinking, Hare, Vasudevji remembered all of this Sankhya yoga glories. So when I read 2nd canto, 3rd canto recently in Bhakti Vaibhav, so much of those details are there, na? 3 modes in creation, Mahatattva and Pradhana, and you are the creator and your energies and this and that. So I just went through, I said nothing I can remember, nor is there a need to remember, just go through and understand what is the creation is all about and just forget it. But when I read Vasudevji remembered everything, and shloka after shloka, dozen shlokas he is glorifying Krishna, how he is manifesting and present as this, the ingredients, as the source of this cosmic world. So very, very enlivening. And then Krishna instructs Vasudevji special things to remove that feeling of Vasudevji that you are God and all that, and then makes him to normal. And then Devaki-ji starts that, "Oh Supreme Lord, I was thinking you my child that, but you are Supreme Lord. And like you had brought the son of your teacher Sandipani Muni back, I also wish that you please bring back my 6 sons." So this is the prelude of this chapter till now. And then Krishna says, okay, fine, I will go and bring the 6 sons. And then Krishna reaches Bali Maharaj, Sutala Loka. Krishna goes to Sutala Loka to go to get these 6 sons. And then he meets Bali Maharaj. And then Bali Maharaj, glorifies in 5-6 shlokas very nicely. Very beautiful glorification Bali Maharaj does of the Lord. Sorry. And then finally, Bali Maharaj asks, okay Lord, what you came for, please tell. And then the Lord says, huh? The Supreme Lord said, during the age of first Manu, the sage Marichi had 6 sons by his wife Urna. They were all exalted demigods. But once, only once, they laughed at Lord Brahma when they saw him preparing to have sex with his own daughter. So I want those 6 sons back, which are with you. I want to give it to my mother, Devaki. Because she is feeling motherly affection for them and she wants to serve them like that. So we will discuss 3 things, I hope time permits. First, in very short, we will discuss Adbhut Karmana. That Krishna can do something so Adbhut. He can bring back dead 6 sons. He brought 1 son back, he got more service. Sometimes you do 1 service nicely and then you get that service more in bigger quantity later because you did that service nicely, right? So Krishna got more such service that okay, you bring, earlier brought 1, now you bring 6. So this first thing we'll discuss in short, that Krishna can do Adbhut Karmana. This is real God. Second thing we will see that how in this shloka Krishna is mentioning these 6 sons, once only they laughed. So this frivolous dealings, frivolous behavior, laughing, joking, it can be so risky, so dangerous. Second thing we will discuss. And third we will discuss that sometimes it may happen being in this material world and in this Kali Yuga and in 21st century, the age of networking and social media. So in this age, sometimes you may see some senior devotee undergoing some spiritual trouble, spiritual difficulties. Like here in this shloka, Krishna is mentioning about Brahmaji. So how do we see that? Right? This is the third thing we will try to see. So I took some help and guidance from His Grace Sundar Chaitanya Prabhuji in the morning today. So I hope I will be able to do this service properly. So first thing, we can see that Krishna is Adbhut Karmana. Krishna does Adbhut Karmana. Mahadascharyam. That Krishna brings these 6 sons back. So how surprising, right? Similarly, we can see that Krishna can jump from Pravarshana mountains, which are 88 miles. Canto 10, chapter 52 mentions about it. 88 miles, that means nearly 130 kilometers. Great height. And Krishna Balaram jumps from that Parvashan mountain. Recently, Shan Gaur Prabhuji was telling that these mountains were actually in Junagadh, in the outskirts of Junagadh in Gujarat. I never knew it, so I heard, I was very happy to hear. So, Parvashana mountains, Krishna jumped. And after somebody jumps from 130 kilometers, what will happen to him? He will not find, even the bones maybe, they will be powdered. But Krishna Balaram jumps and nothing happens. They walk from there back to Mathura. If we jump, then we will be rushed to the hospital, even if we are alive by chance. Right? But Krishna Balaram, nothing happens. Similarly, we can see Krishna can lift Govardhan. Right? Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Bhakticharu Maharaj also said here the same thing once, many years ago. That if you want to be Gopi Janavallabha, first you become Girivardhari. Then you talk about becoming Gopi Janavallabha. So Krishna can do such Adbhut. Another we can see that when Krishna was born, normally the parents make the horoscope of the child, right? Which was the previous birth and next birth, what will happen, next this birth, what he will do and all that, right? But you see, when Krishna is born, Krishna is doing the opposite. He is making the horoscope of the parents. He is telling what you were you in the last 2 lives and now what you desired And why you are getting me as your child? Krishna is doing the horoscope of his parents. Right? Another we can see that, a child is born very dirty. Right? But Krishna is born so beautiful, curly locks of hair and beautiful helmet, mukut, and bracelets and armlets and smiling. Nahi? So no ordinary child appears like that. Right? Similarly, we can see when Brahmaji stole all the cowherd boys and cows also. So Krishna expanded himself into exact shape and size and mood of the boys. So that, mothers don't feel any difference, either cows or gopis. Krishna expanded himself as exactly the same ones. Nahi? I am remembering now, while speaking this, how Krishna exactly became the husband also for all those 16,000 princesses relieved from the custody of Bhaumasura, right? So they all said, Krishna, you please marry us, because who will marry us now? We have been touched by the other man. So by that standard, now nobody can get married then. Almost. So then Krishna says, okay, I will marry. And then Krishna expands himself into 16,000, princes or whatever. And exact same size according to the wife. Not that some wife is very small and Krishna is so tall. Like Qutub Minar. Not like that. Exactly matching each wife size and complexion, whatever face cut and mood and everything accordingly matching that wife, Krishna expanded himself. Srila Prabhupada writes in Canto 3 that how the most expert yogi can expand himself at max to 8 or 9 forms, all matching each other. But Krishna can expand himself to 16,000, and all matching each of the wives, 16,000 different forms, in different moods, in different sizes, different colors, doing different activities, living all together differently in different palaces with each queen. SriSriRadhaRasbihari, Shri Gaur Nitai, SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is Krishna, Adbhut Karmana. And Srila Prabhupada, jokingly said in the Rishabdev section that when Rishabdev will pass stool, it will spread fragrance to 80 miles distance. Prabhupada said in one lecture, if you say, I am God, come here, you pass stool, let us see. How many kilometers away the fragrance goes? If at all it is fragrance, you will yourself only run away. You put the flesh and run away quickly. Srila Prabhupada was, so desperate to prove that, who is God and you are not God, that he will even go to the extent of giving these examples. So we can understand how God is God and dog is dog. So we have to understand Krishna is Adbhuta Karmana. Right? So Krishna can do this Karmana also. He can bring back the 6 dead sons. When he went to Yamaraj to request him that give the son of my teacher Sandipani Muni, so Krishna said, Guru Putra Mihanida Karma Granthi Nibandhanam Anayaswa Maharaja Madhashasana Puraskrita. Krishna can order Yamaraj, hey, my Guru's son has come here, bring him. Guru Putra Mihani, Nija Karma Nibandhanam. Out of his own karma, he has come here. Anayaswa Maharaja, bring him here. Oh Maharaj, Yamaraj, bring him here. And Yamaraj may ask, Arre, what is about his account, suffering account? Mad Sashana Puraskrita. मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, इधर लेकर. Right, sometimes the leader is there, ना, मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, प्रसाद लेकर आओ. Right? So, Krishna is telling, in my account you can write off. Like sometimes, in the bank they have write off money, the losses, they write off. So the bank manager or the leader can say, write it off in the name of bank. So Krishna is telling, write off in my account. Mat Shasana Puraskrita. I am my order. Reward my order. Follow my order. Just bring him here. So Yamaraj says, yes, I bring. So we can see so many. Bhagavatam is filled with hundreds of instances of Krishna's godhood. So many are coming to the mind now. We'll go to the second section of our discussion, that they laughed once. They laughed once in the first Manu. And now in the seventh Manu, Kamsa killed them all, right? So once frivolous, mindless, careless, laughing, joking, proved thousands and thousands and thousands of years of misery. Right? So we can see that. Hey? So from Srimad Bhagavatam, recently Vishnudada Prabhu shared a nice document with me. I will read some of the instances from Bhagavatam where somebody laughed or mocked. It's okay. Thank you. Somebody laughed or mocked or made fun of other person and suffered. We can see here in this case only. First they got curse and became the sons of Hiranyakashipu. Then they got curse that you will be killed by your own father. Then they became sons of Kalnemi. And then they got next birth as sons of Devaki. And Kalnemi came as Kamsa, killed his own sons from the womb of Devaki. So many lives getting killed brutally. On another lesson we can learn, sometimes people have this misconception, बच्चे तो भगवान का रूप होते हैं. Some people, they say children are already liberated. Right? But we can see, some people may see, Hare, what mistake did they do? They were small, innocent children. And in this tsunami or in this mishap or in this natural disaster, God killed them. Small innocent children, newborn babies. God is cruel and God is not there, otherwise He must have come to protect these small babies. In one lecture, His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj was telling that actually this is the major, virtually the only and the major reason why there is any atheism in the world today. When people are not able to comprehend why bad things happen to good people, in this kind of scenario, these small children, innocent children, newborn babies, they are mercilessly killed by Kamsa. How is it possible? If God is there, He must have come to protect them. Therefore, God is not there. Otherwise, how this so bad can happen with these small good children? And then they became atheists. Then they become atheists. But we have to see from the eyes of Shastra that they had big history coming from several births, from thousands of years. One small mistake. We can see Manduk Muni, Srila Prabhupada tells, one small mistake of piercing the ant, and he had to see almost near death experience. So small mistakes also weigh heavy. So like that, right? So anything happening is some having history. We may not know because they may look small children, but history is there. Every karma counts. Gehna karmano gati, 4.17 Gita says. Right? So in this we can see that one small laughing, once laughed on a great authority, great person, and so much suffering they went through, until finally they got darshan of Krishna and Mahaprasad of Krishna's milk from Devaki Mata's breasts, and they got restored in their Marichi sun demigod position back in heavenly planets. So heavy price. So we should be very careful. We can see the example of Nal, Kuvar, Mani, Grieve. There they neglected Narad Muni and became trees for 100 celestial years. We have the example of Devi the gorilla, who was agitating ocean, locking people in the caves, passing stool and urine in sacrificial areas, and mocking with the gopis, showing his back and pulling their cloth. Right? Destroyed by Lord Balaram. We can see Hiranyaksha. He was giving such a superficial respect. मजाक उड़ा रहे थे, खिल्ली उड़ा रहे थे वरुण देव की, हिरण्याक्ष. And then teasing and challenging, destroyed by Lord Varaha. Who? Hiranyaksha, right? For this, laughing, joking, mocking Lord Varuna. We can see Yadu Kumars, they were teasing saintly persons by asking whether Samba will get a boy or girl, by dressing him as a pregnant woman, right? Just to enjoy the fun of fooling saintly persons. And we can see what happened, Moshe Lila, where all the Yadus were killed, right, due to the ferocious war, due to this frivolous act. We have the example of Indra, who carelessly disrespected the garland given by Durvasha. Or, Brihaspati, I forgot, Durvasha, okay. And then he, gave that garland to Airavat, elephant. And then Indra suffered so much, lost all his opulences, everything. We can see Juhu, who was mocking as a Gandharva and tickling the feet of Deval Rishi, right? Pani ke niche ghus karke, right? Tickling the feet of Deval Rishi, and he got cursed, right? We have example of Chitraketu Maharaj. He laughed at Shivaji. And Srila Prabhupada mentions he had a very slight, a slight pride that I can give a feedback to Shivaji also. So then he got cursed, right? Because of that laughing at Shivaji and speaking extra words, So, you can see Vishwamitra also, who frivolously flirted with Menaka. He lost his tapobalam, right? So we can see so many instances from Shastras where many more are there. So 13 instances are there here actually. I spoke only 6, 7. So we can see from Shastra so many instances, somebody neglecting a respectable spiritual personality, or frivolously dealing or mocking, heavy price. So we should be very, very careful while dealing with senior Vaishnavas. I remember once, many years ago, during Kartik, I was visiting Vrindavan, and there was a seminar on Govardhan Leela by His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj. So I also thought, okay, let us attend Kartik, we should hear some sadhu. Prabhupada says we should hear from sadhus, Vaishnavas. So I sat to hear very nice Maharaj presented. And I saw the presentation which Maharaj was showing PPT. In that, when Maharaj was showing this slide, when Krishna has lifted the Govardhan hill, so by chance that PPT, that image was, mirror image, transposed or transferred. So the left hand of Krishna was appearing as right hand of Krishna in that image. That Krishna is lifting Govardhan with right hand. So when I saw that, I noticed that there is some mistake. Right? It should be left hand, but the image is showing right hand. So, as I am very expert in fault finding, so I noted that, and I controlled myself, did not ask that in question answers. But at the end of seminar, Maharaj got down the asana and came down in the hall. Then I approached Maharaj, and with, all my humility, folding hands, I said, Maharaj, thank you for a nice class. I just wanted to say one thing. So Maharaj became very attentive. Okay, he has some nice question maybe he wants to ask. So with all my humility, I found fault with Maharaj. Maharaj, this fault was there in your presentation. So then Maharaj said, oh, okay. I'll correct it. Okay, thank you. At that time I did not feel, because I very humbly told Maharaj, But later when I heard this section of Chitraketu Maharaj very attentively, then I said, Hare, maybe aise kiya. Became too confident to give feedback to haste and to give feedback to a senior Vaishnava, very senior Vaishnava sannyasi, over a very small, insignificant thing. So these kind of things can happen with us. It's not just in the Shastra. It can happen with us. We have to be very attentive and alert. Right? So, but it took me many years to come to understand that was a big mistake which I did. Like that. Either I can use that opportunity to ask some questions and get enlightenment from such senior devotees. Right? This was the second section we thought of discussing. Of course, let me speak one, two example of the sober behavior also. That was frivolous behavior. And there is sober behavior also. We have 6 examples. One is the 100 daughters of King Kushanabha. When Vayu was trying to flirt with them, and he even made them hunchback. But still they did not let their tongue loose, speak loosely, and control themselves. Who? These 100 daughters. And then what happened is they got a very glorious husband later, Bhagadatta. And by his mercy they got beautiful bodies back again. So the sober, tolerating, controlled behavior, opposite to frivolous behavior, protected them, saved them. Similarly, we can see Prahlad Maharaj, what Hiranyakashipu did with him. But Prahlad Maharaj tolerated everything. And then we know Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Now Narsimha Chaturdashi is coming. We can meditate on Prahlad Maharaj's lotus feet, that he lived in that situation where not only the civilization, the citizens of Bombay were doing all acts against Shastras, but even the cosmic actions were happening against Shastras. Because Hiranyakashipu had controlled Vayu, Agni, Surya, Varuna, everything. Now at least we can see Shastras at the cosmic level acting correctly. Shastras are living, the cosmic situation is living the Shastras. So we can believe, okay, Krishna honge, and he must be God. And his books are supreme knowledge, because we can see in the cosmic situation, things are happening. But in Prahlad Maharaj time, even cosmic situations are following Hiranyakashipu. Right? So how difficult to put faith in Shastra. Right? What is written in the Shastra, nothing is happening. Everything is opposite happening. How to put faith in Shastra that Krishna will be there, Krishna must be there. So how much we are dependent on Shastra. We should pray to Prahlad Maharaj that, oh Prahlad Maharaj, please give your blessings, that we can put such faith on Shastras. Even though nothing outside is happening correctly, everything is going wrong in my life or in the world, still we should put faith that Shastras are correct. They are the words of God. Next example, we have Haridas Thakur. We see how prostitute came and made fun of Haridas Thakur, but he tolerated. We have the example of Garuda, that Saubhari Muni cursed Garuda. Right? But Saubhari Muni calm, composed. Garuda calm, composed. And then we have example of King Parikshit, who was sober when Shringi cursed. We have example of Jad Bharat, when the dacoits took him away. He was controlled, sober, calm, composed, and he was protected. So we can see that sober behavior is always rewarded, and frivolous behavior always leads to destruction. So third section, it is 8:46 now. I'll try to complete by 9 o'clock quickly. So the third section is when somebody senior does big mistake, then how to see it. So the first thing in this chapter only, text 30, Mata Devaki is telling, Ut Shastranam. Those people who reject Shastra, defy Shastra, O Lord, you have come to destroy them. So this is the purpose of Krishna's descent, to destroy those people who defy, neglect, reject, ignore Shastra. So we should look such situations through the eyes of Shastra. Srila Prabhupada said in London, 20th July 1973, Bhagavad-gita lecture, your eyes should be Shastra, not your so-called imagination. I will repeat this very, very important line. Your eyes should be Shastra, not your so-called imagination. Very simple, but one line says it all. And in this chapter, Devhuti Mata is glorifying Krishna for that only, that those who defy Shastra, ignore Shastra, neglect Shastra, you come to destroy them. So any such situation, we have to see from the eyes of Shastra and develop the right vision. How to see somebody senior going or doing a big mistake. Why I should see from Shastra? Because first thing, I want to be happy in my life. Simple, right? So Srila Prabhupada writes in Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 22, first paragraph, last line. A living entity is so made that he feels most happy, not happy, most happy when he practices absolute dependence on Krishna. Absolute dependence, full dependence as a servant of servant of servant of servant of servant of servant of servant, 100 times servant of Krishna. When the living entity practices this, lives his life like this, he feels most happy. So how to live as a servant of Krishna, as a servant of Krishna, dependent on Krishna? That we'll get to know from Krishna's Shastras, Bhagavatam and Gita. That is why it is important, Srila Prabhupada is telling, that your eyes should be Shastra, not your so-called imagination. For any situation happens. As, we discussed just now, that sometimes in the society, due to some epidemic or natural disaster or something, small children may die. And even devotees may become bewildered when their neighbors tell them, "Kar lo aur bhakti." Ye mila. And so many years you are doing bhakti, and now see, small child died. And the devotee we may become bewildered. Yeah, what is the use of bhakti and all that? But we have to see it from the eyes of Shastra. And become strong heart. And okay, this child died, maybe some history is there. We don't know. Not necessarily that every time the bad history is there, like sometimes it is mentioned by astrologers that this child was supposed to live this much, few years or few months only, because his some few little karma was remaining. After that he was supposed to go back to God. Like that also, such things are there. So we should not see from the eyes of our imagination, or from the eyes of our neighbors, or our office colleagues, or our own hurt heart, but from the eyes of Shastra. As we will see here, how to see this situation. Srila Prabhupada himself tells in Canto 3, Chapter 12, purports 28, 29, 30, 31, several purports. Prabhupada tells 3 lessons how to see when a big person does mistake. I wanted to show this document here, but now time will go, so I will read. So 3 lessons, Srila Prabhupada says in those purports. 3 outlooks or 3 types of, 3 points when a big person does a mistake. First, Prabhupada writes, see a mistake as a mistake, not an acceptable act, just because a senior has done it. So Prabhupada writes in Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 28, purport. Maitreya hesitated to state this anomaly on the part of Brahma, who was sexually inclined to his own daughter. But still Maitreya mentioned it because sometimes it so happens. Aisa ho jata hai. And the living example is Brahma himself. Although he is primeval living being and the most learned within this universe. So Prabhupada is telling that although most respected living being, primal living being, but still it happens like that. So Prabhupada is seeing this mistake as a mistake. Right? So see a mistake as a mistake. It may look very fancy, it may look very holy, it may look very saintly to speak that दोष दृष्टि नहीं करनी चाहिए, दोष दृष्टि नहीं करनी चाहिए. I am remembering one very big famous saint speaking about another very big famous saint. That video is available, one devotee showed me. It's another very big famous saint did a big mistake and he was put behind jail. So then is another very big famous saint, so to say saint, was asked about him. So he's one of the main, saintly looking, holy looking claim is, dosh drishti nahi karni chahiye. So it may look very holy, very saintly, very exalted, right? See, so great saint. But no, Srila Prabhupada is telling, just because a senior person has done it, don't see it as a acceptable or correct action. No, see a mistake as a mistake. First thing. Second, Srila Prabhupada says, don't disrespect that senior. In the next purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 29 purport. It's a long, I will read just few lines. You can read the later, your full purport. Srila Prabhupada says, maybe Brahmaji did this mistake. Might be that Brahma wanted to warn his subordinates about human frailties in their dealings with women. This is always very dangerous for persons who are on the path of self-realization. Therefore, great personalities like Brahma, even when in the wrong, two things Prabhupada tells now. Even when they are doing wrong, first, should not be neglected. Second, nor could the sages headed by Marichi show any disrespect. Don't neglect them, don't disrespect them. Srila Prabhupada is telling two things. Right? Because of their extraordinary behavior. So this was the second point. When big people do mistake, don't neglect them, don't disrespect them. Like a big person, he did a mistake. Now he's coming for Prasadam hall. And now because you remember his mistake, big mistake, isko kya pattal dena? Apne aap le lega. So, no, don't neglect. He is a devotee. He is a senior devotee. Give him respect. Give him pattal. Serve him prasadam. Right? Don't neglect, disrespect. And third thing Srila Prabhupada writes in 28th purport, 3.12, 28 purport. Learn a lesson for your own self. Don't miss to learn a lesson for your own self. Srila Prabhupada writes, if Brahma could be a victim of the sexual urge, then what of others who are prone to so many mundane frailties? Srila Prabhupada writes further in this purport. One should, however, take serious note of this incident. The human being is a social animal, and his unrestricted mixing with the fair sex leads to downfall. Such social freedom of men and women, especially among the younger section, is certainly a great stumbling block on the path of spiritual progress. Prabhupada writes further, very nice. Material bondage is due only to sexual indulgence, and therefore unrestricted association of men and women is surely a great impediment. So Prabhupada is telling the third lesson, how to see it as learn a lesson. Don't miss to learn a lesson for yourself. If this can happen to Brahmaji, who am I? Right? Right? So Srila Prabhupada tells these three things. 1-2 more points we will discuss in this. And what should be my attitude toward the wrongdoer senior? We can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita Anta Leela chapter 2, shloka number 112 onwards, when Chota Haridas was banished by Lord Chaitanya. So I wrote many translations, I will not go through them. In Anta Leela's Chaitanya Charitamrita 2.122, you can see that what was the response of all the devotees. Now two things have happened. One, Chota Haridas has done mistake. Second, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the leader, has outrightly, openly given a comment that reject him, is a wrong person, bad person. Now two things have happened. Let us say, like we have His Grace Brajari Prabhu sitting. So if I do some big mistake, and then Prabhuji, I did mistake first thing. Second, Prabhuji also openly speaks that he has done such a big mistake, rejected. No? Right? Now, what we will think? Kick him out or beat him. Correct? Because now not only has done mistake, but our leader also has, right, approved, certified it. But in this situation also, we can see, learn how the Vaishnavas they see it. Kaviraj Goswami writes, the next day, all the devotees together went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and begged at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu, submitted an appeal on behalf of Junior Haridas. So they submitted an appeal at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on behalf of Junior Haridas. All the devotees, they personally went. You can see, if I were there in such a situation, I would have spoken, he is a very bad person. I always knew he is so proud and he is such a wrong person. I always knew this will happen one day. I will feel and speak like this. But you can see the Vaishnavas feeling. They are going and trying to beg Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? And then Sri Mahaprabhu is still telling strongly, no. So, one lesson we can learn is that we should not delight in condemning such devotees who are going through some difficulties. This is completely wrong, completely non-scriptural. We should not delight, we should not speak. In these purports only, 3.12.28, verse and purports, you can see Srila Prabhupada and Maitri Muni, with great hesitation, with restraint, in half a verse only, as if faithless that maybe it happened or not. So Maitri Muni says, Vidura, we once heard that Brahmaji ran after his daughter. Finish. Finish. And Prabhupada writes that Maitri Muni mentioned just for our caution, that's it. He was hesitant. He did not want to speak this kind of thing about senior devotees. But for giving lesson to us, in very minimum, limited few words, Maitri Muni spoke this. For lesson, giving lesson to us. Like that. So sometimes somebody may be in a, responsibility role. And he cannot keep quiet. He has to, in very minimum few words. So we can see in when Vena, right, did mistake. So how his mistake was corrected? So, Canto 2nd, chapter 7, text 9 mentions that how the seniors or Brahmanas were concerned about the welfare of the whole community. And that is why they prayed to the Almighty Lord that this Vena may become all right. And in Canto 4, chapter 14, text 34 and 36, it's mentioned that after they killed Vena, took the necessary action, they killed Vena, after that, immediately, all those Brahmanas, they sat down and were discussing Bhagavatam. Not that they were also dwelling because they are the leaders or the seniors. They have the right to take action on the wrong thing. So, no. So, they are also immediately, next day only, or someday, immediately they are mentioned. Shukadeva Goswami mentioned the next verse, that they sat down to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam after taking the right action. Like that. And how should I be disposed in my bhakti life? So I should be very, very careful. Right? So we will not elaborate this. And what if still something very wrong happens to me, or I end up doing something very wrong? So then Srila Prabhupada mentions in Gajendra section and in Bharat Maharaj section. Because Bharat Maharaj also fell down from his Bharat Maharaj position, and Gajendra also, Indradumna Raja. So Prabhupada mentions in the two sections that stand up, never give up fight, stay in association of devotees, don't leave association of devotees, and fight from the platform wherever you are. Don't leave Krishna, don't give in to Maya, and fight with Maya, continue your fight in all situations. Saw that how such situations, we should be very respectful to such devotees and pray to Krishna to help them and make endeavors to help them, like the Vaishnavas went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for Chota Haridas. And also don't delight in condemning them, pray for them and learn a lesson for oneself to be correct, to be very, very safe and cautious and very strict with our own practice of Krishna consciousness, because it's great risk any moment. Srila Prabhupada says in Canto 3 again, that any moment of inattention can create havoc and bloodshed. So we should be very careful also. So thus we discussed these 3 points. First, that Krishna is really God, Adbhut Karmana. We discussed half a dozen examples or more that how Krishna is really God. Second section we discussed that how We should not be frivolous. We should be very sober, very grave. I remember once His Holiness Gopal Krishna Swami Maharaj was speaking on the same point, sitting on this asana 3-4 years ago. And Govinda Kumar Prabhu asked a question to Maharaj, that Maharaj, in Chachi Sudashtakam it is mentioned, Nava Hasya Karam, that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always creates newer and newer laughter and newer humor. And you are telling we should not be frivolous and laughing and all that. So what is the how to reconcile? So Maharaj promptly said, immediately Maharaj replied, Maharaj said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God. We have to be careful. So we have to be grave. Always grave in bhakti. And yes, within the limits of respect and attention and care, we can have fun, we can have joy. Srila Prabhupada always was happy, cheerful, laughing with his disciples, enjoying. We have to learn that from Srila Prabhupada. But we cannot be mindlessly frivolous, passing comments here and there. Because when we become frivolous, I have in my mind 2-3 examples of my own doing such mistake. When we become careless, mindless, frivolous, joking, laughing mood, at that time we end up committing many offenses by making such comments or doing such actions which transgress the etiquette. So for neophytes like me, it's very important to be very, very careful of this. So this is the second section we learned. And third section we saw that how to see somebody so senior, Brahmaji, doing mistake, how to see it. We learned from Srila Prabhupada's purports from Canto 3, Chapter 12. And we saw the mood from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and how we should be disposed towards such devotees, and how we should learn a lesson and be very careful. So thank you very much. It is 9:06, 9:05. We have 5 minutes if any comments or corrections. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada ki. Ja, thank you. Any thoughts or comments or corrections? Any devotees? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.